Okay, well, I just wanted to be able to get back on quick and finish up this league, so figured I'd do so before I get some stuff done today. So just gonna hop in and see how the rest of this league's gonna go from yesterday. Currently 2-1. Looks like we're getting a match pretty quick. This is on the draw. I think this is functional. It's got interaction, ways to dig to stuff. No counterspell. Well, I guess Drown in the Lock's probably going to be relevance counterspell. Thoughtseize off the top. I will take that. And I will cast it. Not dead after all. Bowmaster, Flare of Malice. I mean, I can get rid of that Bowmaster quite easily. I think I'm supposed to just take the not dead after all, so I don't just get absolutely obliterated by a grief off the top. But at the same time, they almost have to draw exactly grief for me to get dumpstered. And they pretty much have to take Drown and Dismember, which leaves me with lots of ways to dig. I think I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take the Bowmaster and force them to have a very, very strong draw off the top. I've had that decision punish me multiple times, but I don't care. I think my hand's strong enough to at least fight through a double grief right now, if that's all that they have. Oh, Thoughtseize. All right, well, that's fine. Then I definitely made the right decision if Thoughtseize is what they have. Taking Drown. Yeah, definitely going to be playing the Frog. Want to start generating some value here. Draw cards as much as I can. And at least create a clock. I mean, obviously I can start pitching stuff if they want to get a grief out there. We can get into it. I can race. Not dead after all enters the exile zone. March. So basically dump my whole hand to save this frog. Right? Or no. No, I only have to dump 3 cards. I actually think I'm okay with that. I'm gonna leave myself with a preordain. No, that's nice. Preordain now. That way there I have control over what I draw with the Psychic Frog. I want both of these things. Thoughtseize your Flare of Malice. And off to the races. Gotta consider. And this frog is going to do a bunch of work. Continues to be extremely impressive, at least in my eyes. So, very happy with that. Oh, hey, what's up? Yes, yes, do it. Absolutely. Sorry, I wasn't noticed someone was chatting me. Thought I've been more or less playing to no one but whoever's going to watch this after for a little while. But hey, welcome. Yeah, it was definitely the right call. Grief. So this is also just a spot where I think I want to consider put something I can pitch to my Psychic Frog. Yeah, like Thoughtseize is a dead card, so put on top. Get a card deeper into the deck. And that grief literally did nothing, so good for you. I will want to exile. I guess I want to exile lands as much as possible, so I'm probably right to discard this land now. Because what's my clock? 4 turns, this moves my clock up by discarding. I hit a land. So discarding now doesn't really change anything. I guess they're gonna. Yeah, I'll hold on to this island for now. No reason to show them I don't have anything. Right? Because they're gonna have to lose life. The One Ring. Wow, sick top deck. Sick top deck. Yep, you get to have that. Can we also have a good one? Wow. Couldn't have had a worse top deck. Couldn't have had a worse top deck. Oh my goodness. It has to deal damage for me to draw the card, right? Yeah. So they don't receive damage. At least I'm not. Yeah, they don't get damage, so I don't draw. So now they're at least just dead to this frog if they don't find something. But I'm going to be pretty sad if they manage to pull off the win here off of some pretty good top decks. I mean, the grief wasn't even that good. Just gave them some type of threat, but this One Ring is real problematic. Three cards in hand. They are thinking about something. Maybe how they're just dead. I'd love if that's what they were thinking about. Flare of Malice, obviously a good draw for them. I don't think March of the Wretched Sorrow is that good. So is this just coffers then? I thought this was like a Orzhov scam list, but now I'm starting to think this is probably just coffers, which would make way more sense. Yep, I take 3. Two cards exiled. Oh, they're gaining life again. March for 8. Yep. Discard. Thoughtseize. Discard. Island. Alright, they get to survive, but still feeling okay about this spot. Fatal push. If I draw a fetch land, I'll be pretty happy with that. And there it is. I mean, I might as well just get a top watery grave. No. No more grief for you. That one ring is going to treat you well. This has been a way more interesting, grindy game than anticipated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They hit a push. All right. Wow, that one ring off the top. Into a second one ring. Goodness gracious. Yep, you got it. I'll just yield through turn. I don't know why I'm clicking. It's a good pickup. I feel like I've got a lot of good draws now. I've gone through 3 of my Thoughtseizes, which have been, well, Thoughtseize is starting to be maybe relevant again. So. Haven't found a Murktide, haven't found a Death Shadow. Alright, let's see if I can keep Sholdreds off the battlefield at this point. Another counterspell. No Orcish Bowmaster, please. Thank you. Top that. Sink into Stupor Shadow. I guess I want both of these. Yeah, I want both of these, and then, I mean, my opponent's probably got a Fatal Push, but they're going to have to use stuff. I just got to hope they don't hit a Shouldered here and then activate the ring in response to Shouldered hitting the battlefield. Can bounce stuff. I guess at the same time, March of the Wretched Sorrows allows them to gain life. Maybe that was the wrong call to put that shadow out. I'm just supposed to, like, okay, well, they're drawing now. They can shuffle away my interaction, unfortunately. Dothy doesn't win the game. They do have a Fatal Push. Okay. Oh my god, and another one ring. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I think I'm supposed to just bounce this Dothy back. I mean, especially if they're going to draw cards. No. I'll take 3. I don't see a way that I die by taking 3. And I'll just hold on to this sink for another turn. That's spicy. Okay, I guess that's one way. Yeah, you can have the grief. Bounce it back to your hand. Kind of hard to believe I lose this game. But I guess we win 10 turns. But 1 ring's off the top. Pretty good. Into 1 ring, into 1 ring. I can definitely see why people want this thing banned. It's just uninteresting gameplay that everyone has access to. Yeah, that'll do it. Can't believe I lost that. Swinging for 8 and drawing cards. That's crazy. Alright. Orcish Bowmaster. Definitely want those. Stern Scoldings. Want those. Harbinger of the Sea's not good enough here. Consign, not really doing anything. Deluge is kind of whatever. So, what needs to come out, I guess? I can take probably 2 Thoughtseize out. I can take 1 Frog. Force of Negation I like. Sink into Stupor I like. I can probably cut a Murktide Regent. They typically have graveyard interaction. I think they still play Relics of Progenitus. Maybe not. Didn't see a single one there, so maybe they don't play them. But typically they've main boarded those in the past. And then I suppose Brain Surge can get a little bit dangerous with opposing Bowmasters. And I'll take a Preordain. Would rather have ability to draw cards in their turn. So I think we'll do that. So if they have Scammed Grief, this hand is kind of crap. I can make it less crappy with the Preordain. I'm gonna mulligan. It's more or less the same hand. A little bit better nonetheless, to a grief. So I'm gonna keep this. Probably put I think I might put Shadow back, which seems hard to believe, but I've liked Frog for being able to draw cards, and depending on what they end up having here as their opening, I might just want to get one out. thinking, either they're thinking pretty hard or they got up to do something. Yeah, I don't have the life loss, so I'm going to put the shadow back. Whoops. Preordain. Don't want either of those things. Stern Scolding, would have loved that in the opener. I'm about to get griefed. No. Okay. Can I find a land? Thank you. Hold up Scolding. Don't think I'll be considering in their end step, given that they do have Orcish Bowmasters. Just doesn't make sense to play into that. And then if I whiff on land next turn, I can just hold up Counterspell, consider with Stern Scolding. Nice. Okay. I don't think they have anything crazy. Nah. I'll hold up consider Counterspell, Stern Scolding. No reason to push a frog out. I'm gonna go fetch out an... no, they've got ways to... I don't want to get basic lands, actually. They have ways to destroy my lands and mess up my mana pretty good, so... Won't do that. Bowmaster. No, thank you. I will take this. Don't want to see any more lands, though. Oh, wow. Okay. Alright, so... Going to put the frog out. If they have a fatal push, I think I just have to let it go. Nice, thank you. I'll take that swamp. Grief now. Well, gonna have to counter this. No question about that. And hope they don't have a One Ring or Sholdred. Or just a backup Grief, I guess. Okay. They still have 3 cards in hand. Well, just have to play it out. I'm not going to hold stuff. They've got ways to just tear my hand apart. It's better to play out the Death Shadow into a Fatal Push or something. Have a Revolted Fatal Push for myself, for like a Sholdred. Oh, they're letting me draw. I don't intend on cracking this fetch specifically off of the reasoning of having Fatal Push in hand. Question is, do they have a second Path of Peril? They might. I don't mind playing into the board wipe. I'm kind of behind here still. They've got 3 cards in hand. Could really use the card draw off the frog. to dodge a ring and Path of Peril, it feels like. And it looks like I have. Nice, okay. Oh, well. Alright, they care more about the card draw than they do this Death Shadow. That's interesting. Hey, Lucas. Yeah, awesome to have you here. Happy that you were able to catch me. I think a lot of the people that do watch my stuff end up being somewhere in Europe or, a good few hours ahead of me. So it's a little bit more difficult for a lot of people to catch me online. Happy to be able to get on earlier in the morning before I get going with my day here and try and finish up this league. But I really hope the Frog sticks around too. It's a great card. Yeah, I really like it. I just think it opens up some really interesting lines. I had a pretty cool one yesterday with Murktide and Frog. They obviously combo very well together when both on the battlefield. So we'll see. We'll hope it sticks. They seem to be kind of flooding out a bit here. Unfortunately, Sink into Stupor not going to save the Shadow from like a Fatal Push or something. And is that what they have? No, they have a Flare of Malice, so... They're gonna need to cast that again next turn. Going to fetch Island. Still want to be holding this fetch for the other Revolt. But this Death Shadow is gone. Kind of feel like they're top decking too. Gonna go with they've got land, Flare of Malice in hand, so at this point it just feels like my top decks need to be better than their top decks. Yep, Flare of Malice, you're gone. Dothy, Bowmaster. Maybe they have a Not Dead in After All in hand. Because they didn't play a land that turn. Almost definitely has to be a Not Dead After All. Which, if that's the case, I want to push this now. Yep. Alright, so we are officially full top deck mode. They have a 1/1 token and a card in hand. I think I'm supposed to hold this island. Nethergoyf. Nethergoyf is a really cool card. It 100% is the type of one drop that I think Dimir Shadow specifically was looking for. Something that you can just put out onto the battlefield if your opponent doesn't have an answer for it. Like even into the blind, right? On the play. You can just kind of throw it out there and, if it's off of a fetch land and you've got a bobble, it's already, what, a 2-3 just off of that. And your opponent kind of eventually gets to the point where they're forced to have to answer it. So it's pretty impressive. The escape clause is also really good. I mean, of course, having to kind of get to a point where you're quite a bit deeper in the game for it to be super relevant might end up being problematic from time to time, but it's definitely the type of one drop that adds a significant amount of value to what Dimir Shadow is trying to do. Having that extra threat is pretty massive. Voidwalker. Gonna go with they have another Not Dead After All probably, but at this point it kind of feels like I need to use my mana a little bit more efficiently. Well, no, maybe not. They do. Oh, Malika Rebirth this time. I don't know what's going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lands out of my deck. 10 lands out of my deck. And I'm 22 cards deep. It's your last card in hand, Fatal Push. Oh my god, you have Dismember. Yeah. Can't save you. Goodbye. Yeah. That was extremely frustrating. I don't know how I lost the first game. And to flood out that, I mean, I know we're 13 turns deep here, but over a third of my deck deep and well over half of the lands that were in my deck came out. That was pretty frustrating, but I mean, that's a tough matchup. But yeah, another Goyf, very strong card. In this build specifically, it's just too much interaction over the graveyard happening between the Frog, Murktide, the Goyf. It's too much. But I think if you're playing, a build like the Control Freak has, where you've got Tamiyo, you're flipping Tamiyo, you've got Baubles, you're doing a lot of card draw, you're filling up your graveyard generally pretty quickly. Yeah, Nether Goyf as a 1-drop is just an extremely efficient beater that's going to be more often than not 4 or 5 pretty quickly. That's just going to clock your opponent if they don't have an answer to it. And that's something that Dimir Shadow has definitely lacked, right? Like having to more often than not wait until turn 3 or 4 to reasonably get a Death Shadow out and start to apply pressure is a very different thing than having something on turn 1 that's able to chip in for, potentially 7+ points of damage over the next 2 turns is pretty huge. I'm on the play. I've got Frog and Murktide Regent in hand. So for testing purposes, I'm going to keep this. It feels like it's probably still good enough too, just given that I am on the play. So at least, I can push something. I'm going to put out a Marsh Flats and I guess hope I'm not getting scammed. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize taking push. That's interesting. Thoughtseiz's taking push. What does that mean they're on? I mean, lucky I top decked another one. Thank you, MTGO. Oh, they're an energy deck. Okay. Well, they're thinking about doing something. Galvanic, whatever the hell it's called. Discharge. Do I throw away 2 cards to save this frog is the question. I mean, they might just have a fatal push. This card's frustrating in the sense that you don't know what they're paying ahead of time. But all right. Because I have a Murktide Regent, I am going to save this frog, or at least attempt to save this frog. Are they gonna have like Static Prison or something? Guide of Souls, alright. So, pretty okay with that decision then. If I, oh wow, and I hit a land. Alright, so we go push the Guide of Souls, swing in. Draw a Stubborn Denial. So yeah, just going back to that, I think I don't make that play if I don't have Murktide Regent in hand. Like, I don't save the frog. Just because there's so many things that can blow me out. Like Static Prison just completely obliterates me by making that decision. But knowing that I can get a Murktide Regent out next turn by discarding there, I think was exactly what I wanted. Galvanic Discharge. So you'd have 5. I mean, you can still kill it. Yeah, that's fine. Ocelot Pride. 1 card in hand. A lot of fatal pushes. I've had some good top decks. And now that I've got this Stubborn Denial that I can realistically ride to victory, I think barring some pretty aggressive stuff from my opponent, should be able to get there over 2 turns. A Johnny. Okay. Sorry, Lucas. I've been a little focused. My chat's pretty far down on my other screen. Yeah, dislike Tamiyo. She's obviously strong and force your opponents to remove an 0/3, but at the same time, I dislike Planeswalkers and think Frog could be, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you dislike Planeswalkers in the first place, completely get that. I mean, I'm definitely going to try some of his lists and get a sense of what it's been like to play in that type of style of deck, but this certainly lends more to my preferences with Dimir and how I've always played it, and typically the way that I would have success with it. I mean, I play the list in a way, or I build lists in a way that I'm most comfortable, and this orients itself towards my play patterns and the way that I see games. But yeah, was super awesome to get rewarded for playing around that galvanic discharge. Obviously, like I said, if they have static prison or something, that would have sucked big time. But at the same time, the Murktide Regent being able to come down was really my reasoning for making the play, and got super rewarded for it. So pretty cool. I don't know. I guess they probably don't do any scam stuff. Realistically, didn't see any reason to believe that they would. So just kind of like a Mardu energy list. Bowmasters definitely seem like they're where I want to be. Just being able to put stuff on the battlefield while also removing some of their stuff. I think Harbinger of the Sea is probably okay here, and Deluge also a good option. Maybe 2 Deluge is excessive though. And then we can drop probably like a Thoughtseize, 2 Thoughtseize, because they're also a Thoughtseize deck. Honestly, it might be right to drop all 4, given that they're also a Thoughtseize deck. And I'm on the draw. I actually am on the draw. I'm going to take all 4 out. I'll take out a Preordain. I will drop 1 Frog again. 4 can kind of maybe be excessive. It might be right to do a 3-3 split. Like I'm always, not always, but feel like I need to be cutting a 3rd, and then I'll take a Consider as well. And submit that. I only have 5 seconds. How's your day going, Lucas? Assuming that you're over in Europe somewhere, or at least somewhere that's 5+ hours ahead of me and have had more of a day than I have thus far. Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer keep. It has a lot of just good stuff going on. Well, the potential to have a lot of good stuff go on, plus also operate in a way that I can have card selection that lines up with what my opponent's attempting to do. So I'll take this. And my opponent seems to be thinking pretty hard on if this 7's good enough for them. So if that's not even more validation to want to keep this, I don't know what is. Very nice. Yeah, I got to get to doing some work after this game, but yeah, I more or less just woke up and had a quick start and jumped online here before I start my day. Okay, keep. But my wife's father is coming to town, and we've got a pretty big event, like a jazz festival, where there's a bunch of stuff that happens throughout the city. So it's going to be a pretty fun weekend. Unfortunately, won't really have any time to dedicate to Magic. It's kind of what it's been for the last little bit. So just trying to get online and put a little bit of content out there for, I think, what people have been wanting to try and see from a Dimir Shadow list that runs Frog. So happy to be able to provide that. I'm going to lead on Preordain here. There's no reason to just hold up Consider, especially because it plays into Bowmasters if they have it. That's a 1-2, right? Alright, so I'm going to protect this Bowmaster from a Thoughtseize and draw that island, or excuse me, that Marsh Flats. That is definitely not an island. Taking 1. So I'm going to hold up Counterspell Bowmaster here. I wonder if they have Bowmasters. They probably do. Maybe not. No, they just have nothing. swing for one. It's fine. Yeah, regarding the Harbinger of the Seas coming in there, I certainly appreciate what you're saying. I mean, I'm mostly testing, just to see where it is good, where it isn't good. All right, I'm going to. I'll just get Watery Grave here. I can get a swamp off of my polluted delta if I need it. Yeah, so my thinking with Harbinger of the Seas, going back to that, is basically just, yeah, it's probably not exceptional, but it can, if they get greedy with their mana base and they tap out or something, like I have ways to get there and kind of protect myself. I don't think there's a reason not to just swing in with both. I'm going to be getting a Shadow out with Counterspell backup, so I am, however, just going to fetch and shock now, because I don't want to be responding to something that they're doing and not have Counterspell available to me. Yeah, and the fact that they're not going for any basic lands here signifies to me that they are happy to get greedy with their mana base and turning those all into islands if they're going to tap out. Like, if I draw, realistically, they still would just have all islands. So if they tap out here, or even generally tap most things, oh, all right, well, I guess they're just hanging it up. Okay. All right, well, 3-2. 3-2, I really feel like I could have won my first match against Dredge. And that last matchup against, I don't even know, Orzhov, Scam slash mid-range. I don't even know what the hell that was. But that match also felt like it was pretty winnable. I can't believe they got their game one ring off the top into, the exact removal they needed for my frog. I mean, yeah, I didn't end up maybe getting the best interaction off of a couple of draws, hit maybe one too many lands, but yeah, I was a little surprised to lose that one. Just gonna crack this open here now. What do we get? What is this? Wilds of Eldraine and March stuff. Skyclave Apparition, that used to be really good. Not really a card you ever see anymore. All right, well, I have to move on with my day. Just wanted to finish up the league for everyone, and hopefully that was at least a little bit enlightening as to what the deck is trying to do and where it is right now in my mind. I guess let me just see if I can pull it up. Here's the list. So realistically, was there anything I didn't love? I think maybe 3 Consigned to Memories is too much. I think 3 Consigned to Memories is too much. So if we take 1 Consign out, and even 4 Bowmasters might be a bit aggressive. I think 3 Bowmasters is probably just fine. So 2 slots still available in the sideboard. Force of Negation has been kind of cool, but I don't know if I want to dedicate sideboard slots to more Force of Negations. I mean, what are the decks that we care most about? I mean, Nadu, assuming it continues to stay around. This seems fine. I'm sure I could dedicate one other thing to Nadu, but I'm not going to spend too much breath on it. It's really the energy decks and Flage that can get out of hand. If Dredge is actually going to be something that comes back pretty consistently, then I probably want a different graveyard option than Stone of Eric. But like I was saying yesterday, Stone of Eric is there basically as a way to kind of pseudo eliminate Flage in that matchup where it's going to be a card that someone could have, right? Because when it dies, it just goes to exile instead. What would be any suggestions? Anyone have any options that they think would be interesting? It's like a 2 of in the sideboard for testing. I don't even know what else came out in the set. I guess Flusterstorm is something that we could be looking at. Maybe I bring in... Yeah, I don't know what the last 2 cards should really be here. I guess the flutes, right? I've got 2 Disruptor Flutes. Might as well bring 2 flutes in. Yeah, good call, Lucas. I forgot I had the flutes, so I think let's bring 2 flutes in. And for the next league that I run back, I don't think I want to be changing up the main board for now. Harbingers of the Sea, like it did end up winning that Ruby Storm matchup for me. I think had I been able to cast it in that last game in a certain spot, it would have been very good. 4 push, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 stubs. I think 4/4 of Preordained Consider is still fine. Maybe 4 frogs is actually just a touch too much. But I don't know what I'd replace the 4th one with. I think realistically, I'd love to get like an upgrade to Drown. I mean, Drown the Lock can be very good, there's no question. But if I could get an upgrade to Drown in the Lock that's at like a serious modern level, I think the deck is just absolutely cruising. 2 Brain Surge, also maybe. I mean, I haven't really cast it all that much. When I have, I got kind of Brainstorm locked one time in the league, and then when I've casted in other leagues in early testing, it was pretty good. I mean, getting 4 cards deep and being able to kind of obviously potentially filter things away with fetch lands or just protect your hand is pretty strong. But I could see sticking to 1 and then bringing something else in. So a couple of things that I might adjust, but overall, pretty happy with this 75, and I think where I want to continue to test as a whole. So Lucas, thank you for hanging out. The 2 other people that are in here, appreciate you spending some time. I'm sure there'll be some people watch this back to get a sense of how the rest of the league went. If you have any questions or want us to continue the conversation, always online in any of the 2 Discords that I link in any of my videos, and happy to continue to try and push this deck forward and make it a real threat in the meta for the foreseeable future. Hope you guys have a great day. Again, probably won't be on at all this weekend. Got a lot of stuff on the go, but enjoy your weeks, rest of your weeks into your weekend, and we'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much, Lucas. You enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend.